Truth Talkers. Welcome back to another episode of Teattime Truth Talk with your host, Alicia Pacheco. And as you can tell, he's not here again, which means we have a special guest today. So in honor of Women Empowerment Month, I decided to bring someone who does inspire me, a very strong woman leader. And for that, please welcome Reverend Melanie.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am good, thank you.
All right. Reverend Melanie is an associate minister of Detroit Unity Temple, a licensed professional counselor of 28 years. She has been married to John for 30 years and has two children named Jonathan of 24 and Cheyenne of 18. And she loves learning new things and living life to the fullest, which excites me completely because I am the exact same way.
Yes, absolutely.
So as always, I'm going to ask you a few questions and we're going to get to know you a little bit and just answer questions that a lot of people commented and wanted to know about you. So let's get started. So the first question I had was, what inspired you to become a psychologist and a minister?
So I'm a therapist. And so I asked a cousin this not too long ago. I met her when I was 9. She's like a step cousin. And she's like, Melanie, to be honest, I don't know what else you would have been other than a nurse, because you would always make sure you talk to people when they fall off their bike. You would talk to them and make sure that they were okay. And then you explain, well, you know, when you did that Papa Willie, you were going to fall and you're going to hurt. So I guess I'm not good at numbers. I'm not an IT person. You know that. So this is just who I am. And it's just a part of accepting and living authentically. Kind of the same with the ministry. It is just kind of who I am. I started with just studying, and I'm like, the next logical step is then you become a therapist and a counselor, and so and a minister. So that's what I am.
Yes, I had the privilege of being with her at Unity Village in Kansas City, Missouri, because she was actually doing the studying and taking the tests with my father. So they got to go through that journey together, and I just got a free trip to it. No,
Exactly.
But yes, that's awesome. Another question they had was, what female leaders inspire you?
So there are tons that the world probably knows about. Of course, I love Michelle Obama, even though she took Barack from me. But I mean, you know, I'm good with that. I love Michelle Obama. I love Oprah Winfrey. I love Rosa Parks. I love Quiet Storms also. But, you know, one of the ones who's probably the most inspirational to me is my grandmother. Lola Porch Hazley. She is absolutely amazing. And so my grandmother always inspired me to do anything I wanted to do, and still now. So I'm 52 and she's always like, Mel, because that's what she'll call me. Mel, you can do it. And what she told me that I loved growing up is she says, we've already proven in this family that we can drop out of school. We've already proven that we can have babies. I need you to prove that we can do something else. That's it. Like, I need to make grandma proud. So I'm like, I got
like
this.
That.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow that. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, we gotta do something different.
Absolutely. Which is good because Rosa Parks is definitely one of my favorite inspired females, and of course my mom. She's always been one of my favorites. She's always inspired
I love your mom too. So.
things like
I love
that. Yeah. Next question they have is, how would you encourage women not to give up?
Oh my goodness. Something I learned in ministerial school is that when you buy a seed, whatever is in that you want to grow, to know that the tree is already in the seed. And so a lot of times it looks like you're doing all of this work, you're watering, and you're doing all these things, and it doesn't look like it's showing up. But we don't give up because our time is not God's time. Right? For us, it might be 5 years and it feels like it's been forever. What's going on? But, you know, God's got a different time. And so you just keep doing what you need to do. We know that practice doesn't make perfect, because if you don't practice right, it's never going to be right. Practice makes permanence. And so that's what we're working on. Just keeping, you know, being diligent, staying on your grind, staying on your hustle, doing what you need to do and what you know is right in the moment. Yeah.
I like that. I like that very much. I've always been told by my mom, my dad, is like, never give up. Just keep pushing, complete things to your fullest potential, things like that. So that's definitely a good idea and good quote and things like that.
And so of that is that practice makes permanence, because we always say it makes perfect. But once again, if you don't practice right, 2 + 2 ain't never gonna be 5. So it makes permanence. So whatever you practice, you want to practice the right thing. That's our unity principle. I do and give the best I can by living the truth that I know. And so you don't give up. You just keep going, and you go to whoever's your motivation, whoever gives you positive energy. You just keep going. You find that person says no, you find somebody else. You find a yes in the land of no, because it's a lot of no's. Yeah.
There is. So you gotta push through and keep searching. Yep, absolutely. Another question they did have was, one of the questions for me was self-care. I'm a big believer on self-care is very important. So as a woman who is a therapist and a minister and was a mom and things like that, what do you do to give yourself self-care, or what is your downtime that you do?
So one of the things I do every morning, start the morning off with just kind of gratitude. And so I'm very much, before my foot hits the floor, I'm just like, thank you. I was told that thank you is the highest praise. I'm just like, thank you. Everything works. Like, it's early, I don't want to get up, but everything works and it moves. And so I just say thank you. At the end of the day, I do a gratitude also. And that's almost thank you just again that you got me through this day. But on Wednesdays, I go, there's a friend of mine, Reverend Kelly. She does an awesome meditation. And so what I do is I go to her church. I leave everything in the car, the phones, any devices, and I just go there. They sit there in the chair and I just lay out on the first row. And that is my meditation time. It is my time. I told her that her church looks like a Hallmark movie, my favorite thing. So when I go there, I'm in Hallmark and I get to pray. So it's like my favorite thing. I absolutely love that. So meditation is just instrumental in everything that I do right now. So I love that.
That's great. Don't say Hallmark around my mother, or we'll end up watching Hallmark Christmas movies all day, every day.
Right now, every day, yes.
That's very good. I am also not a morning person, so it's kind of like my thank you is a nice cup of coffee first before I do anything else.
Yeah, but you know what? But thank God that we can taste. When COVID came, people were losing taste and smell. Even just that you could taste the coffee is thank you that we can taste the coffee.
Yeah.
Thank you that I'm able to swallow. Thank you that everything is moving the way it's supposed to. You know what I'm saying? It's changing, so things are shifting. They don't look like it used to, but thank you that I have it. All the activities of my limbs, I just thank you for everything that I have.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We love it. We love it. Another question they had was, what is your advice for women in general who are coming up in the world?
So for one, first of all, find you somebody who's got you. Like I said, here's my mantra for 2022. I started off with what is mine to do in 2022? What is mine to do? And then I turned 52 this month. So what is mine to do in 2022 at 52? But find you somebody who is a positive influence on your life and kind of listen to them. So I have no problem sitting at the feet of my grandmother. I go over there once a week and I just hang out with her. I don't want nobody else around. It's me and my grandma, just me and my time, and do whatever. But find you somebody who you know has got your best interest at heart, who's looking out for you. And so that's what I just make sure that I'm doing. And so with young people, find somebody who inspires you, who wants you to do better. We see all these reality shows, they're throwing shoes and glasses, and I don't have time for all of that. We do not. Find somebody who's inspiring you and lifting you to your next, whatever your next is.
All right. That's very good, because a lot of us, especially my generation, especially after COVID and everything, we are trying to get up in the world and trying to find our purpose. I know I had to go through that journey and things like that. And if any of you were watching the last couple episodes, I was talking about how I went through that journey coming up, and I had to hit the restart button and find out who I was as a person. And now everything's flowing properly and going on the right path for me, especially at a young age. Because we have all the adults that are like, oh, we finally made it, and I'm sitting there like, but I figured it out. I figured it out. I'm like, okay.
But one of the things that I make sure that my especially my young women do in therapy is I call it the magic mirror. And so what I say to them is, I don't care what any other mirror tells you. When you look in this mirror, and so they write things on it, affirmations. When you look in this mirror, let this be the mirror that says who you are. So when they're in my office, it's like, I'm amazing, I'm wonderful, I'm smart, I'm gifted. Because sometimes when we look through other people's lenses,
Mm.
we don't look like we measure up. But when you look through your own, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that's important, because we are, as women, trying to imitate people who don't even want to be who they are. Like they're getting
Yeah.
injections and they're changing their color and they're changing their hair, and we're trying to be them and they don't even want to be them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is what you see is what you get. This is it. This is Melanie, you know?
Yeah, this is me.
Yep. That's it.
Love it all up. So with that, especially like I said, with my generation is definitely hard. How do we break that off? Like I know affirmations and things are great, but I have friends who don't like think that way. So it's like, how is it a way for us to actually find who we are and love who we are as ourselves?
So I'm always going to say, get yourself a good therapist. You know, I'm a therapist. I'm going to say, do that. But you know what? You got to
therapist. I get it.
Yeah, you got to spend some alone time. And when I tell young people, like, maybe you can take a break from social media, it's like, oh my God, like I said, the worst thing in the world. So I'm not on social media. I'm not. The friends that I have, I'm old school, so we talk on the phone. I'm a phone talker, so I'm going to talk on the phone. But what I'm not going to do is allow somebody to stress me out via Zoom or via online or via, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. So you might have to spend some time in the silence. I have the calming bowls. A lot of times I have to go in my room and I'll just do my bowl and I'll do whatever. I'm a music person. So I have different Pandora on my phone so that I can do some days. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so I'm gonna do some rah-rah because I need that. But other times I need some Yolanda Adams, you know, alone in the room. It's just me and you. And so that's what works for me. But you've got to find what works for you. You know, you've got some friends that walk around and go, oh my God, I eat vegetables all day and I jog and it's the best thing in the world. Like that ain't never gonna work for Melanie. I'm just letting you know.
Nah,
that ain't
I like food too much.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I might as well eat this desk. Okay, erase that. But anyway, yeah, so you have to find what works for you, because what works for you, and what works for me, it works for me, you know?
Absolutely. That's the same with me. I'm the same way. I've learned that I like it because a lot of my friends, especially with weight problems, whether it's female or males, have complained so much about it. And I'm sitting there like, I kind of like who I am. I grew up being a thick little girl to a thick grown up. So I love who I am. There's nothing that's going to change it. I love food too much. I will exercise, and just as long as I can stay healthy and still eat food, I'm good.
I want to be healthy also, but I don't know if you saw that commercial a few years ago, and it was like, I am a size confident or beautiful. That's what I want to be. I want my stuff to fit. I want it to fit well. But yeah, I'm not into the numbers. Many times I buy things from resale shops anyway, so the numbers have already been cut out. I just want it to fit good, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yes, I agree completely. Because I make the joke all the time with a lot of my friends. I'm like, look, if you feed me, we are automatically friends.
We're friends. That's it.
It's just how it works for me. It's like your energy and your vibes have to be great, and you just got to feed me. That's it. That's how you're going to be a part of my world and how to live into the good, positive lifestyle that I do now. Because a lot of people come to me, they're always like, I like coming to you because of the way you act and the way you talk and how you help me with things. And you're just so happy all the time. I'm like, yeah, because I live around and I'm surrounded by positive people all the time. I'm going to be that positive person.
Yeah. And so you probably did well when school was all on, online. And so that's the thing right now. Some people do and some don't. I have some people who are like, Miss Melanie, we're on Zoom. We don't have any school in person. That's wonderful for the people who have that life, that home. Some people being at home is the worst place to be 8 hours a day. So, we have to take it as it comes. And so if you have to do school online and it doesn't work for you, make sure that you're going out and you're walking or you're doing something to get you some fresh air, to give yourself a change of scenery. So, what I'm saying? Everybody's not the same. We just got to do what works for you.
No, yep, that's absolutely true. That's how you do it. So another question that has been asked is for me and for a couple others that I know. And what is advice for us women who want to become psychologists? Because that is something I do want to do in the future. I'm right now studying to be a life coach, but as a person who is a professional, I figured best person to ask it would be you.
So it's interesting because when you first go to college, you take those prerequisites, those core classes that you have to take. And so when I took those, it ended up being, every time I looked up, it was sociology. So I have a criminal justice concentration. It was criminal justice, it was sociology. And as I started doing that, I was like, this is the kind of stuff I like. When you grow up, I grew up in the hood. So I, for real, want to know what makes people tick. I'm like, where did they get that from? Why are they doing that? So for me, it was just, it was a natural curiosity to find out like what made people tick. And then let's go even further. What makes Melanie tick? Like, what made you do that? You know what I'm saying? And so you just simply go, you look for programs that have the field, and you take one or two and you decide, because you know pretty much early on if it's something that you want to do and something you can't do. Like I probably could have been a nurse with the bedside compassion piece, but every time I see, even on TV, somebody getting a shot, I feel like I'm going to pass out. So I cannot be your nurse because I'm not going to be able to help you. I'm not going to be able to help you. I'm like, okay, too much. Yeah, so I want you to follow, you and everyone else to follow what feels good for you, to follow what's natural for you. But here's the thing about being young, you get to try some of everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a buffet, like, oh, I like that. And then you go, but I don't like that part of it, but I'm gonna try this part. And right now, with the COVID and all those different things, we have all these pivots. People are doing things that we never, first of all, they have video gamers. That's a career. I was like, what? You know, I told my son, get off that game and stop. That's a career now. So you get to be whatever you want to be. That's what I love about the last few years, you know?
Yeah, I love it too, because it is, you're right. We do have the ability now to try different things. And I've done that. Like I did go to LCCC for a year or two, and I tried different things. And that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with psychology, because in high school, we always make the joke that I played a therapist, because I didn't know I had the answer until it actually worked, because people would come to me asking for advice, whether it was relationship advice, internal advice, external advice, whatever. And I would just kind of just make it up as I go, because I didn't really know. And it turns out that was just something that was good. Not to pat myself on the shoulder, but I have helped people and stopped people from doing harm on themselves and taking their own life. Because at the end of the day, what I've learned from my generation is sometimes you just need someone to listen and just be there for them, to just let go of whatever negativity is going on in their life. And it's like, I've realized that is something that I'm good at. And then it so happened that when I was going to LCCC for musical theater, because I try to incorporate my music any way possible, they canceled those classes. So of course you had general classes, and one of them was psychology. And as soon as I took the class, I fell in love with it. And it made sense. It made sense for me to understand my friends and other people, because I'm sitting there sometimes, I'm like, why? Just why?
And the theater and the musical background is gonna, so every time I do a sermon or a talk, I sing a song. It's just a part of who I am. So I grew up and I went to a high school that's a performing arts school. And so I was a theater major. So it's just what I love to do. And I'm like, oh my God, I can mix like ministry and therapy and theater and all of those things. And it just, for me, is it's a perfect fit.
Yes, absolutely. It's funny because doing the songs for our Sunday services now that are happening and things like that, I haven't sung in like a real long time. Like I'll sing around the house to annoy the family just cause, but like to perform again, it just felt so good. And I was like, I miss it. I really do miss it. And one of the things that my dad has told me, he was like, I always expected you to write your own musical, whether it was Unity based or otherwise. So I have started something, a little something. It's not there yet. It's gonna take a little while, but I did start a Unity musical. And then I was like, well, what other creative boundaries can I push? He told me nobody has ever made a Unity board game. I was like, I am the queen of board games. I will sit there all day, every day, play board games. You want us to get rid of our phones? Fine, take it. Just give me a board game and a group of people. Good. And food. Gotta have food.
I don't know if you know that years ago, before Hamilton, I think everybody laughed at that. They were like, what? Hamilton? When I tell you, that's like, I want to be in the room where it happened, right? Now the Zoom where it happened, Like, that's amazing. So yeah, like the sky is the limit. My grandmother said, we've already proven that other stuff. This year is faith over fear. You know what I'm saying? You just
Yes.
and you just have to step into it. Faith over fear. And it's some things that are a little scary. Like, this is a little scary, but that makes it all the more kind of fun. Like, nobody's done it. It's like, sweet. You don't have to worry about breaking the
Challenge
mold.
accepted.
That's it. I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's like things like that. It's just you look at, and especially when you said faith over fear, that is something I definitely learned for a while now. I was talking to my dad about it, how it was like starting our own business. It's not gonna big thing overnight. So there was times where I had self-doubt and fear, and I was like, well, maybe I should go back to work. Maybe I should get a regular part-time job. And then I put myself in a situation where I was like, look, if I get myself a regular job, I'm not going to put my heart and soul into what we love doing. And so I just said, no, let me stick to it. And we actually had a client come in for Reiki. And not only did they pay the company, but they ended up paying me personally. And I was like,
that's what I'm talking about. You know, we have
a
a minister named Reverend Shahira, and she always says, don't should on me. Don't tell me what I should do and should. You know what I'm saying? Let me do what feels right. Let me do what feels, because sometimes it feels like you are crawling out of your skin when you are contained into something that you know that's not. It's okay to be comfortable for a minute, but when you know that it's more inside of you, it feels like you're about to explode. And that's what I tell my clients all the time. When you hold this stuff in, one or two things are going to happen. Either you're going to implode, that's when you self-harm or do things to yourself that's not healthy, or you're going to explode and you're going to take it out on somebody else. You got to let this stuff out, because this creativity that's inside of you is so vibrationally expansive, right? You know that some days it's like, I can't even control this, you know? So yeah, don't stifle yourself. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta roll with people who are willing to roll with you. Like, look, you gonna roll with me? Or you gotta sit down and take a side ticket while I'm riding through? Yeah.
Absolutely. So one of the other questions someone had was going through your journey of becoming a psychologist and a minister, as a woman or an African American woman, what were the struggles that you had to go through and how did you handle them yourself?
So some of the struggles with, because I am a unity minister, and so unity is not predominantly African American. So when you think about ministers in other faiths, it's been going on, you know, there have been African American women forever and ever and ever and ever. So this is a newer one. So going through that, we've had a few struggles and challenges. One thing I can say is, look, sidebar, talk to your dad. There's been some things, but that's when I say you got to have the positive people that are with you, because sometimes I'm like, this ain't gonna work. I ain't gonna be able to do this. You know what I'm saying? And I have to be mindful that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So stop saying what you can't do. I ain't gonna do this. I ain't, because you know, I could be the rah-rah girl when I want to be, but you know what? You have to sit down and decide if this is what you're going to do. Ministerial school was not academically necessarily challenging for me. I love school, but it was definitely labor intensive. And somebody told me it's the heart curriculum that you have to work on, because it's not the putting that stuff down on paper, it's changing your heart, you know, changing your stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm working hard on that. I was told that it was education without graduation, and that's the truth, because forever, you'll be learning and doing different things. So what you have to do is find the school that works for you, right? Find you some good folk that you're going along with, you know, get you a good cohort if you can, some folk who are on your side and want you to succeed and helping you to do those things. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a process just with everybody, but it's an individual one, and you got to decide what works, how it works for you and how it feels, you know, for you.
Absolutely. I 110% agree with that. So the last question we have for you, I figured we leave it on a positive and less serious question, is what is one quote that you live by that you would give to everyone out here today? Whether it's famous or personal.
Yeah, years ago, there was a guy who came to a church I was attending, and he, don't even remember his name, but what he said is, it doesn't matter if you try again, and fail. It does matter if you try, fail, then fail to try again. you know, so you just got to kind of keep going. You just have to keep going. That's the important thing, because it's going to be some times, we know that you go, even with life, I work jobs and I go, I thought I really wanted that. I don't want that. But what I can tell you is, I don't know what my dream job looks like, but I'm designing it right now. But I can tell you all day long what I don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the problem is. Like, I don't want to do that. Even in friendships, I tell people all the time, I've got some wonderful friendships, but even with friendships, I done kissed a few frogs before I got to like the sweet friendships, you know?
Absolutely.
So you just have to decide what works for you. So I don't mind failing. Somebody told me failing is feedback. Failure is feedback. So yeah, I was like, yep, because I didn't work that time. Let me try something different. And that works for me. Yeah.
Definitely. I agree with that 100%. I'm gonna throw in a Disney movie because Disney nerd all the way. But the movie Meet the Robinsons, one of the main quotes is that if you fail, you keep moving forward. You learn from that failure and you keep moving forward.
Fall on your back. So when you fall, you're on your back, you can see up. If you can see up, you can get up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I personally want to thank you for coming today and being our special guest for today. Thank you everyone who was watching today. And as always, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for the notification for the next episode. And as always, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it. And we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.